Hey, come here. Hey, man, you almost missed. I got your seat right next to me. Hey, be careful with that popcorn. Stop stepping on people's shoes. And sit down right here. Fam, thank God you made it. You at the movies with Pete McCorvey. Oh, shh. Start. What's good, everybody? This is your country cousin, Pete McCorvey, a.k.a. Petey Mac, and welcome back to At the Movies with your boy, Pete McCorvey. Man, so today, this is a special one for me because we're going to step into one of my favorite film categories. That's Blaxplotation. Now, Blaxplotation was popularized in the 1970s and dealt with black ghetto life. You know, everything that we see from like Superfly, Dolomite, Petey Wheatstraw, the Devil's Son-in-Law, Shaft, Superfly, Cooley High. The list goes on. Blackula. It's just a bunch of movies out there. And honestly, if you want to keep it funky, those Blaxplotation movies were technically hood movies. Because that ghetto is the hood. The way the pimps and the gangbangers and the hoes and it's kind of like the rappers, the hoochie mamas and twerkers and the dancers, the DJs and all that of the hip hop generation. So they gave way to like a lot of our favorite movies like Friday, Don't Be a Menace, hell, you can even say Love Jones, Juice, Boys in the Hood. If it wasn't for these movies, we wouldn't have gotten those movies. Now I'm going to break down some of the characteristics. Usually the protagonist was a male and was charismatic, stylish, masculine, and had the Midas touch with the ladies, and as a result had great sexual prowess. Or if she was a woman, she was drop dead gorgeous, could kick any man's ass, and just smart as a whip. Now usually if it was a man, it was usually a pimp, a gangster, or a cop. If it was a woman, she'd either be the girlfriend of a gangster or she was a cop that was showing she could hang in a man's world. And Blaxplotation it covered like all genres. Like, I'm going to give y'all an example. Like, you got drama. Cooley High. It was a comedy, but it was more drama than it was comedy. And for comedy, we got Dolomite, which I don't understand why my mom and them loved that fucking movie. I've seen Dolomite when I was in college, when I was under the influence. And I was like, this movie is terrible. I said, if this had Black America in a chokehold, the CIA did its job with drugs and alcohol and all that shit, because that shit was gone. Oh, my God. The minute time we saw that boom mic, Jesus Christ. Yeah, romance, that's Mahogany. The Billy D. Williams and Diana Ross classic. Crime, we had Superfly. And horror, we had JD's Revenge, which to me, honestly, I get a little comedy out of it. But I ain't got it all. Hell, I think The Five Heartbeats is straight comedy. And the trauma that a lot of them scenes had, but the usually most traumatizing scenes in that movie, that scene's black folks find funny. And they even had some movies in Blaxplotation that really didn't fit any genre per se. I looked at them more as social commentary. Like these three. Like, first one is A Here Ain't Nothing But a Sandwich. It dealt with drug abuse with kids in the ghetto. You had Claudine. It talked about the struggles of a single mother on welfare and her trying to raise her family as well as have a love life. And then you got not only just a great piece of social commentary, but one of not just my favorite movies of Blaxplotation, but it's one of my favorite movies, period. That's The Mac. You know, I can quote that movie top to bottom, Sunday to Sunday. No problem. But it taught that the pimp game ain't all y'all think, i.e. everything that glitters ain't gold. But they also had a lot of lesser known ones too in Blaxplotation, like the one I'll be discussing today. The movie that I'm going to review today is a movie that came out back then called MMA, or when it was released on DVD or video as Black Sisters Revenge. Now, MMA was released on Friday, November 12th, 1976. It was distributed by International Pictures. They distributed a lot of Blaxplotation films at that time. It was directed, written, and produced by Jamal Fanaka, who is known for being the director of the cult classic Blaxplotation film Penitentiary, which if you talk to a lot of people who are older millennials and even people from Gen X, they said this movie was detrimental to keeping them on the straight and narrow out of prison. I don't need to go into detail. What's understood don't need to be said. Now, I couldn't find any box office records or stats for this because it was really low budget. But I'm going to tell you where I first saw the movie. It was summer of 2009, and it was on YouTube. I was at my mom's house. You know, this is YouTube. This was back in the day when YouTube didn't put the full movie on there. They had like 10-minute parts, so you had to have like movies broken down like 10, 15 parts. But at that time, it was golden because you could damn near find anything. You know, like I said, I was at my mother's house in Jacksonville, Florida, because I was on a summer break during college, and I was working on the naval base there, both at the commissary and at the Navy Exchange. For those of y'all don't know, the commissary, that's a military base. It's like their grocery store. And the Navy Exchange was called on Navy bases, Army bases, PX, and Marine bases, MCX. Those are like convenience stores and department stores on base. So I was working 2 jobs, so I really didn't have a lot of time to go out and kick it with like the local friends that I had made. So I kind of really watched a lot of movies because if I wasn't at one job, I was at the other, and that's if I wasn't at both of them because I used to double whammy a lot. So I actually was going down a rabbit hole and discovered a lot of Blaxplotation movies at this time. Like I said, I watched this as well as Willie Dynamite, as well as JD's Revenge, and I think I watched that crazy ass Peter Weestraw, The Devil's Son-in-Law with Rudy Ray Moore. You know, I was just on a, can you dig it, solid, it's solid groovy baby deep dive with Blaxplotation. And then this was one of the movies I happened to stumble across. And I'm going to give the synopsis for it. Following the death of her mother, homely, which is another word for ugly as hell, Mississippi native Emma May moves out to Compton, California with her Aunt Daisy and her family. While Emma May is a sweet and naive country girl, she is tough and won't back down from anybody. In an attempt to help Emma adjust to the culture shock, her cousin Dara and Yulika take her to a party where she meets Jesse, an older age gangbanger who is also a notorious pill popper. Emma May quickly falls for him due to him being the only person who made her feel beautiful in California. After being warned by her cousin about how big of a loser he is, she still goes out with him. One day when Jesse is being harassed by the police, Emma May comes to his aid, striking the cop and fleeing with him to escape. The police end up catching Jesse and Emma May, but they were convinced that Emma May was a hostage, so they let her go. Emma May, after winning the respect of the neighborhood crew, organized a way to raise Jesse's bail. When that falls through, Emma May takes drastic measures that, while end up being successful, they end up having a less than favorable outcome for her. Now, this is my review of this. I thought this movie captured the essence of black youth, and not just Compton, but inner city in America during the 1970s perfectly. And for it to have such a low budget, it felt like a major Hollywood production on the same scale as like Superfly and Shaft and Cooley High. The characters seemed believable and the dialogue authentic. You know, it wasn't none of that, hey, can you dig it solid, brother? Hey, man, groovy, baby. Oh, yeah, man, you giant motherfucking turkey. You know, all that shit they did. They didn't, it was just like, I really felt I was there in 1976, just shooting the breeze with them people. I felt like I was a part of their life. You know, them characters were not characters of stereotypes that were common in Blaxplotation movies at the time. All of these characters seemed dynamic and completely realistic. And for that reason, I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. It's a 9 out of 10. Good film. That's my film critic review of it. Now, this is my personal review. I love this damn movie. I am glad I stumbled on this movie back during the summer of 2009. I keep it in constant rotation. To me, the 70s was a cool time. This thing showed the 70s as a vibe for real. The clothes, the lingo, you know, the way the brothers carried themselves, the way the sisters carried themselves. Everybody in there was looked like they were having a time. And everybody in there was just so damn cool to me. Even the kids in there seemed cool. Which is funny because to see them kids, they probably as old as my mom, my dad, my aunts, and my uncles. And, you know, I felt like this movie is a low-key gem. And it needs to be talked about up there with the same reverence and Superfly, the Mac. Like I said, Mahogany. What other movies? You know, Blackula. Let's Do It Again. Uptown Saturday Night. A Piece of the Action. Penitentiary. All these movies that I named, this movie needs to be thrown in, especially with it being as low budget as it was. It was shot beautifully. And I love one thing about this movie. One thing I love about this movie, besides the way it was shot, because like I said, you can tell them low budget movies from back in the day. This movie looked like the production quality was Hollywood quality. Like top-notch Hollywood quality. But I love how they show why things change. They stay the fucking same. And I'm going to give you an example. Like during the party scene after MMA and Jesse first hooked up and they was out at the party, a gang war breaks up the party. Now, how many times we done been to a party? If you in my age bracket, I'm 37, we done been to a party, niggas got to fighting. And it eventually got to shooting. And you know how your parents say, see, y'all don't know how to act when y'all go nowhere. We didn't do that. Yes, the hell y'all did. Because it's 1976. If y'all parents or my parents' age, they was 20s and 18, 19 years old. My dad was 20 years old in 1976. My mama was, she's December, so she was 18 going on 19. So y'all 100% did the shit too. So don't put that all on us. And another thing that they touched on, like how disenfranchisement has been around in low-income areas for a long time. So, as I mentioned in the synopsis, Jessie gets arrested. So, MMA, they got the respect of the neighborhood. She didn't have to bust a few heads to get some respect. And she puts together a car wash on the property of a local business owner, a white middle-aged man named Mr. Davies. Everything's going good. She's paying him on time. He said she's a good tenant. Her and her friend's a good tenant, but he had to shut him down. She's like, why you shutting them down that you had to quit? He said, well, they're threatening to raise property taxes and put me out of business here and other properties. And MMA said the realest thing I ever heard. She said they always complaining that we young people don't want to do anything, and when we do try to do something, they shut us down. And Mr. Davies, he said some real shit. This was a real deal look at how economics and sociology works. He said, they're afraid of you. He said they see this young black country girl organizing people and getting things done. Said they're afraid of you. You represent change, something they're not ready for. So I liked how they touched on that, because that's still going on today. And if you don't believe it's going on today, you either naive or you part of the problem. But I'm going to tell you what was my favorite, absolute favorite part of this whole movie. And it came from the character Big Daddy, who was played by the actor Malik Mitchell. When MMA tells two guys in the crew that she plans on robbing the bank to raise the money to post Jesse's bail, one of the guys says that they in over their heads and they facing time doing this. Now, Big Daddy has been portrayed as a bumbling fool the whole movie, but he stands up and tells the young man to sit down, and then he speaks with clarity. This is what he said, and I love it. He said, talk about taking chances. He said, what do you think you're doing every time you pick up a gun and get the gang war with your own people over turf? Something don't none of you own because the white man owns it. And you got the nerve to be talking about worrying about facing time. Facing time? Nigga, you face every time, every day you live and breathe. While you're doing time right now and don't even know it. That was in 1976. And here we are in 2026. 50 years later. It still hits hard. Y'all need to watch that scene, because I paraphrased it. But it's some more in that scene that he said that still rings. Like, he had this part where he said, like what he said, the white man took, he said the white man, he said he owns every neighborhood, every freeway, every nook and cranny, every damn swamp. He said, you know how he got it? Because he took it. He said, you want a piece of it? He said, you get off your ass and you take it back. Which is but y'all with this shit worry about gentrification. There you go. Now, why I do like this movie, like, there's two things I did like. Me being from Mississippi, I didn't like how countrified they tried to make her. Just, she didn't have no style. Whoa, jacked up clothes. She was clothing a suitcase with like a piece of twine. Had old country ass curls in their head. It was just eyes closed and bumbling and all that. I didn't like that. But with her being country, I liked it because little things she was doing. She was putting belt down. Like MMA was fighting men and women. She didn't give a fuck who you was. You was gonna get it. MMA had them hands and they work. And that's one thing I like. Hey, I'm country as hell. But you can get a Southern fried ass whooping easily. Now, the second thing I didn't like was how they tried to make MMA seem ugly. And the actress that played her, Jerry Hayes, she wasn't ugly at all. What they was doing, they tried to make her seem ugly because she was dark skinned. And here's the thing, Jerry Hayes' complexion was so smooth. She was beautiful. She was beautiful. I'm gonna be honest. Like, she looked better than a lot of the light-skinned women in that movie. And before y'all say, well, you saying like, no, I'm not saying light skin is a standard of beauty. But the way they was shooting it, they was making it seem that way. And she was, to me, cuter than a lot of the women that they tried to put over. Like, basically, she was definitely cuter than that girl, Sarah, a.k.a. Slick, who ass she whooped to get the respect of the neighborhood crew. Her bald-headed ass. So it was like, even with this, you know, the 70s was all about black is beautiful, black power and all that. Y'all saying that. But y'all still was promoting the light-skinned people. So even during the height of black power, Jamal Fanaka, you still was having it with, if you're light, you all right. And if you're black, get back. I'm just saying, brother. Now, here's some trivia. Jamal Fanaka wrote, produced, and directed this film while attending UCLA Film School. So, basically, it seemed like this was a film school project. That is very impressive for a film student to make while still in school. Like I said early on, that was major Hollywood quality. Jerry Hayes improvised some of her dialogue. I can see that. Look like that scene she shot at the end, like after she beat Jesse up, she was talking about how big of a loser he is, and if he go 3 blocks, nobody will respect him. That looked like that came from the heart. So I think she improvised that. The character Emma May was inspired by one of Jamal Fanaka's cousins. I highly doubt she was that countrified. I've seen pictures of my relatives from Mississippi back in the 70s. They didn't look that country. That's that bullshit y'all be trying to do. Jamal Fanaka, in a contemporary article in Daily Variety, said he kept costs down by using technical facilities at UCA, a non-union cast and crew, and hundreds of people willing to appear in the film without pay. The film was funded in part by the American Film Institute and taxpayers of the United States through the National Endowment for the Arts. So when they say this movie was made for the people, by the people, them 2 pieces of trivia are spot on with that statement. Now, here was my favorite quote of the movie. So it's at the scene where Emma May, after Jesse's been bailed out, she waits for him in a party, but he never shows up. So she goes looking for him, and she finds him in bed with Sarah, a.k.a. Slick. Sarah sees Emma May, gets up and tells her, hey, Emma May, she ain't mean nothing by it. They was loaded. Hey, Sarah was putting them hands up please don't beat my ass. There ain't want no more smoke with Emma May. She was scared as hell. Emma May just calmly tells her, you can go, Slick. Jesse was living in the bed. He said, I'm the onlyest nigga. You please. Not the only nigga, the onlyest nigga. You please. He said, Sarah, get back in his bed. He looked at me and said, you close the goddamn door. But that ain't my favorite quote. Emma May, while still looking at Jesse, fine her eyes, said, I said you can go, Slick. Basically like, you gonna listen to this nigga or you gonna listen to me? Because you already know how I do your ass. And I'm giving you a pass. So get on out of here. Sarah grabbed that damn sheet around her, grabbed them shoes and got her ass the fuck on. She like, I don't want none of them problems. Oh, man. Hey, look, man. That's been my review on the 1970s Blaxplotation movie Emma May, a.k.a. Black Sisters Revenge. You know, the next movie I'm going to do is going to be a comedy. It's going to be a comedy, and I'm going to have fun with this. Because this one is one of my favorite movies. I have been watching this movie damn near all my life. I'm going to say over 85, 90% of my life, this movie has been in constant rotation with me. And it's actually my personal favorite Eddie Murphy movie of all of his. Not saying it's the funniest, because I didn't say it's the funniest. I said it's my personal favorite. And the movie I'm going to do 2 weeks from now is the 1992 comedy classic Boomerang, starring Eddie Murphy, Robin Givens, Halle Berry, David Allen Greer, Martin Lawrence, Chris Rock, John Witherspoon, Eartha Kitt, Grace Jones, Tisha Campbell, and a few other people that I can't think of them right now. But it was a star-studded cast. And I got to tackle that one next. Like I said, I need a good comedy. I haven't did a comedy. Well, I did do a comedy. I did Joe's College Trip. But I need me a good classic comedy. So I'm doing Boomerang in 2 weeks. Y'all want to get in touch with me? You can find me on Facebook, Pete McCorvey. You can follow me on Instagram, PeteMac10, PeteYMac10, or you can follow me on TikTok, PeteMac89, the same as Instagram. Drop the 1 and the 0, put an 8 and a 9 there. You know, 2 weeks from now, y'all, be cool, stay calm, peace. See you at the movies.